Okay, what I'm going to show in this video is one way that you can remove a background from an image. It's not the only way to do it, but it is a way where you have a lot of control over exactly what you remove and what you don't. I think that's a good thing. And here's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about here. If you were going to work on making some kind of meme like this, where what I wanted to do is have a surprise face, but I wanted to remove the background out of the image where this guy with the surprise face was. Me when I remember we have a math quiz today, okay? Or if you just want to do something that's kind of cool looking like this one, and I think this is Cohen. I think I'm not completely sure. I don't know all the numbers and everything, but the original photo that had the football player in it, I think it was Cohen. I removed the background out of that picture. And so what I'm going to show in this video is how I remove those backgrounds, how I do it. I do it a lot of times this way. It's not the only way. So let me just go ahead and close these. And you can have some fun making these, or you can make things for social media. All right, so this would all start, if I was going to make one, this would all start with a new file. And I'm just going to do something that's kind of square like this. Now, the next step I'm going to do, and there's a ton of things you could do here, I went out on the internet and I hunted for this orange background, and I got that. I just did a Google search for like orange backgrounds, and I found this. And so I'm going to open it up. I just did File and Open. I'm going to open it up, and I'll take the selector box. We've talked about this before. I'll take the selector box and just select it, copy it with Control-C, paste it. And then I'm going to do that Control-T to transform it. I'm going to press the Shift key. If you press the Shift key, it allows you to grab a handle and stretch it in any direction you want to go. So I kind of like to do that sometimes. I'm going to push down the Shift key, and I'm going to stretch that out, and then I'll hit this check mark up here. So that's going to give me a background for the thing that I'm going to make. Now, I also already have the photo of the person with the surprise face. If you were going to do this, you might want to go hunting for some photos you want to use. Got to keep things school appropriate when you're at school. All right, so I'm going to open it up, and it looks like this. All right, so here comes the big trick here. And this is not the only way to do it. This is a way to do it. Here's the first step. On my layers panel, I have my layers panel just right over here on the side where I see the background layer. I'm just going to double click and then click OK on this box. That's going to make the background layer. It's going to kind of unlock it and make it just a regular layer, and that's what I want. So I'm just going to double click where it says background. I'm just going to click OK. And it's called layer 0 right now. Okay, great, whatever. All right, now the next thing, I'm going to go to the layer menu. The menus are across the top. I'm going to go to the layer menu, and I'm going to go to what's called a layer mask. And then I'm going to do reveal all. I'll let that sit there just for a second. So you look at it, it's on the layer menu, layer mask, reveal all. And I'll just click that. Doesn't look like anything happened, but Photoshop did add a little special thing called a layer mask. It's over here on the layer panel. It's this white box right here. But here's the trick of a layer mask. If I take the brush tool, B for brush, and I make sure that my paint color is black. If we look over here, my paint color is black. You got to paint with black paint. If I begin to paint with black paint, you'll see that wherever I paint, it kind of turns to this checkerboard. Well, some of you probably know that checkerboard, when you're talking about a photo, checkerboard means like transparent or see-through, and that's what I want. I want to knock out all of this stuff around him, but I want to keep him. I want to keep the guy with the surprise face. Now, this is going to take forever if I do it with a small brush. So I can make the brush much bigger. I'm using the bracket keys on the keyboard, the left and right bracket key on the keyboard, and I can make a much bigger brush to do most of this, and that's going to make it go really fast, right? All right. This is one of the things that you know, the more careful you are with the details, the better it's going to look in the end. But right now, this isn't the detail part of it. All right, I'm doing the big part. All right, so I used a really big brush, and I brushed around him, and I've got it kind of down to where, okay, now I got to be a little bit more careful. So two things I'm going to do. On the keyboard, if I hold down the Control key and tap the plus key, I can zoom in. And if I tap the left bracket, tap on the left bracket on my keyboard, I can make the brush a little smaller, so that now what I can do is I can come in here and as carefully as possible, again, you know, this is one of those things where the more careful you are, the better it's going to look. So I'm everywhere that I paint with that black paintbrush, it's kind of taking out the background and giving me that checkerboard pattern, which is, again, transparency. Now, I'm zoomed in, and there's scroll bars on the side and on the bottom. I could use the scroll bars to move the image if I wanted to. Another way to move the image is to hold down the space bar, press the space bar down, and then I can just drag the image, and then I can let go of the space bar, and I can just kind of start painting again. And I'm going to go, in this video, I'm going to go pretty fast. I'm probably not going to be all that careful, but I'm just going to kind of paint around. And the trick of masking is that everywhere that I paint with this black paintbrush, it just hides. It's not, it looks like it's erasing stuff, but it gets a little complicated in the details. I'm not really erasing stuff. I'm hiding stuff. It's still there. I'm just hiding it. All right. I get a little picky about my details there. And I didn't do a great job on part of his hair there, but oh well. I'm hurrying. All right. So I'm going to paint away, paint away, paint away. And I'm pressing the space bar. Remember, I push down the space bar to move the image. Paint, boom, 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 like that. Okay. And I'm almost done. Boom, like that. Okay. Now I think I've got it. So nope, there's more over here. There's some more over here on this shoulder. And if you're thinking, wait a minute, gosh, you just painted away some of his shirt. Yeah, you know what? I know I did, but I don't think it looks bad. I don't think I really messed it up. Control minus will zoom out on the keyboard. And again, I can push the space bar. As long as I push down the space bar, I can move the image around and get it to where I can see it. Okay, so you see what I did, right? I used that trick called layer masking to knock out the background, and so this is what I have left. Now, before I can put this guy on my thing that I'm building, I have to go up and do this step. I'm going to go up here to Layer, Layer Mask, Apply. All right, again, I'm going to let that sit there. I want Photoshop to actually apply the layer mask. It's kind of like you putting on a mask at Halloween. If you apply the mask, you put it on, right? So that's what I want Photoshop to do. I want the Photoshop to put the mask on the picture. So I'm going to say, boom, apply. And now I can just select this. I'll use my selector box up here. And I can just select this, copy it, bring it over here and paste it. Now it's a little too big, so I'm going to do Control-T, transform. I can see a couple of places where I didn't do a great job. Now with the way that's cut off at the bottom, it'll look a lot better, I think, if I set it down at the bottom and use it kind of that way. And you can, it can stick off the edge of the document. That's okay. Check mark. All right, cool. So that much is done. And the only thing left now would be to add some type layers. And I might come along here and say, this is me when, can't type, when I, R-E-M-E-M-B-E-R, me when I remember, and I'm just going to do Control-T, and I'll just move that around. And anytime you're doing Control-T to transform, then you have to hit the check mark here. Me when I remember, we have a check mark, Control-T, I'm just going to move it around. We have a check mark, another type layer, math, and I'm going to press enter, quiz, check mark, Control-T. I'm going to make that one a little bigger. Check mark, and then one more type layer. Today, check mark up at the top, Control-T. I'm going to make this like check mark, and there. And now I could play with it more. I don't know how much you remember about like these layer style things. Like I could give the guy an outer glow. I could give the type layers like a drop shadow or something if I wanted to, or I could give them, maybe I'll give the type layer an outer glow. right? Whatever. You could play with that. My goodness, you could play with that as much as you wanted to play with it. But the thing that I wanted to show you here is that idea of knocking the background out, right? That's the big thing. This little meme thing that I built looks better if I knock the background out of the original picture. And that's, like I said, that's not the only way to do it. Some of you may know other ways to do it. But it is a way to do it, and it's a way where you have lots of control over what you knock out and what you don't, because anything you paint with that black paintbrush gets like hidden or knocked out, and it works pretty well. So, hey, there's an example, right, of how I built that one that I showed you at the beginning. This is me when I remember we have a math quiz today. And again, the new trick I'm showing is knocking out the background of something. Now, you can have a lot of fun with that idea of knocking out the background. All right, end of video.